High school was a mix of highs and lows, but nothing could prepare me for the strange and unsettling experience I had with a certain teacher, Mr. Hawthorne. He was known around school as the eccentric one, the teacher who marched to the beat of his own drum. On the first day of class, Mr. Hawthorne walked in wearing mismatched socks and a tie covered in cartoon characters. His hair was disheveled, and his glasses perched precariously on the tip of his nose. As he introduced himself, his words flowed like poetry, a mix of Shakespearean references and quirky anecdotes. Class discussions were equally bizarre. He'd often veer off topic, sharing tales of his pet iguana's culinary preferences, or launching into impassioned speeches about the importance of collecting rubber ducks. At first, his eccentricity seemed harmless, a welcome break from the monotony of lectures. But as the weeks went by, things took a darker turn. One day, Mr. Hawthorne handed out a pop quiz that was unlike any I'd ever seen. The questions were puzzling and unrelated to the subject matter. Instead, they asked things like, if you could talk to a tree, what would it say to you? And describe the color of your dreams. As we scribbled our bewildered answers, Mr. Hawthorne sat at his desk, staring at us with an unsettling smile. When the bell rang, he collected our papers with an air of satisfaction, as if he had just unearthed hidden secrets. But what truly sent chills down my spine was what happened during a parent-teacher conference. My mom and I sat across from Mr. Hawthorne discussing my progress. Out of nowhere, he asked, "Do you ever wonder what your dreams taste like?" My mom exchanged a confused glance with me, her brows furrowed. "I'm sorry, what?" Mr. Hawthorne leaned in, his eyes unblinking. "Dreams. Do you ever wonder what they taste like? Cotton candy? Or maybe like rain on a summer day?" My mom's discomfort was palpable as she quickly shifted the conversation back to my grades. We left that meeting feeling unnerved, as if Mr. Hawthorne had glimpsed something deep within us. Rumors circulated around school about his peculiar behavior. Some claimed he could predict the weather based on the color of his socks, while others swore he could communicate with squirrels. The more I learned about his eccentricities, the more I felt a growing unease whenever I entered his classroom. Then came the day he disappeared. Students arrived to find his classroom empty, his desk covered in a jumble of rubber ducks. There was no explanation, no note. He was just gone. Rumors swirled. Some said he had finally gone off the deep end, while others speculated that he had found a portal to another dimension through his beloved rubber ducks. The school administration offered no insight, leaving us all to wonder. Years later, I still remember Mr. Hawthorne and the unsettling atmosphere he brought to our high school. His strange behavior left an indelible mark on my memories of those years, a reminder that sometimes the line between eccentricity and something more sinister can blur in the most unexpected ways. I encourage everyone to be mindful on what your teacher is doing. Prom night was here, the night we had all been waiting for since the beginning of high school. The gymnasium was transformed into a stunning ballroom, complete with elegant decorations and twinkling lights. My friends, Alex, Mia, and Jake and I stood at the entrance, dressed to the nines and ready to dance the night away. The music pulsed through the air as we stepped into the dazzling scene. Couples swayed on the dance floor and the excitement was palpable. I linked arms with Mia and we joined the sea of people, our laughter blending with the music. As the night progressed, the atmosphere shifted. A feeling of unease settled over us, as if the celebratory energy was slowly being replaced by something more ominous. It started subtly, a shadow that seemed to linger just beyond the edge of our vision, a whispered conversation that sounded distant and eerie. I leaned in closer to Alex, trying to drown out the growing sense of unease. "Do you feel that too? Like something's not right?" He nodded, his expression tense. "Yeah, I thought it was just me." Mia and Jake joined us, their faces mirroring our concern. "There's something off about this," Jake muttered, his gaze darting around the room. As we continued to dance, I caught fleeting glimpses of movement in the corners of my eyes, shadows that seemed to dance and twist to their own rhythm. I brushed them off as tricks of the light, but the feeling of being watched persisted. "I need some air," Mia suddenly said, her voice shaky. "Anyone want to come with?" Alex and I exchanged glances before nodding. We left the gymnasium and stepped into the cool night air, hoping that a breath of fresh air would alleviate the unease that had settled over us. But as we stood there, the feeling of being watched intensified. It was as if invisible eyes were boring into us, sending a shiver down my spine. "This is getting really creepy," Alex admitted, his voice low. Mia nodded, her arms wrapped around herself. I know. It's like something's lurking out there. A rustling sound echoed from the bushes nearby, and we all turned to look. My heart raced as the shadows seemed to shift, taking on an unnatural form. My breath caught in my throat as I saw the outline of a figure, tall and indistinct like a shadow come to life. Without a word, we turned and ran back into the gymnasium, our hearts pounding. The music continued to play, oblivious to the fear that had taken hold of us. We found Jake and told him what we had seen, and his expression mirrored our own alarm. As the night wore on, the unease escalated. Whispers seemed to echo in the corners, and the shadows appeared to move of their own accord. The once celebratory atmosphere had transformed into a chilling one, and our attempts to brush it off as imagination fell short. Eventually, as the clock struck midnight, the lights in the gymnasium flickered, casting the room into darkness. Panic rippled through the crowd, and the music abruptly stopped. When the lights finally came back on, we found ourselves surrounded by a circle of shadowy figures, their features obscured and their presence sinister. Terror gripped us as we tried to back away, but the figures closed in, their forms shifting and twisting unnaturally. In a frantic scramble, we pushed through the circle and ran for the exit, our fear fueling our desperate escape. We burst out into the night, gasping for breath and unable to shake off the haunting encounter. The memory of those shadowy figures and the feeling of being watched would forever remain etched in our minds. A chilling reminder that even on a night of celebration, darkness could lurk just beneath the surface, waiting to make its presence known. College life thrived with energy, an endless array of possibilities at my fingertips. But one night as I huddled in my dorm room studying, a chilling unease washed over me. The dim lighting cast eerie shadows on the walls. A soft knock rapped on the door. Through the peephole, a stranger's face greeted me. He introduced himself as Mark, claiming to live on my floor. His friendly demeanor masked an unsettling intensity. He asked to borrow a textbook, his eyes fixating on my room's contents. Over days, Mark's visits grew incessant, his excuses becoming flimsier. My roommate, Rachel, sensed my discomfort and shared her concern. She had seen him lurking in the hallway, his inquiries about our schedules raising alarm. One evening, Rachel confronted him as he left our room. The door clicked shut and her voice trembled. "He's been watching us." Fear clenched my chest. That night, a chilling note appeared on our desk. "I'm closer than you realize." We reported it, but the dorm that once felt secure now seemed tainted. College had taught me independence, but this encounter reminded me of vulnerability. Beneath the pursuit of knowledge, darkness could hide, forever reshaping my college narrative.